that problem you keep ignoring, it's not going away. In fact, it's just going to change its costume and reappear in your next relationship, your next job, or your next late-night anxiety spiral. It's a powerful, almost unsettling idea that fate, the universe, or whatever you want to call it, will keep presenting you with the same test over and over until you finally give it a response. Now, I'm not talking about a cosmic quizmaster with a grudge. This isn't about punishment. It's about a fundamental psychological principle. The recurring challenges in your life are not random misfortunes. They are deeply personal questions that your own psyche is asking you to answer. They are patterns. So, why does this happen? Why do you keep dating the same emotionally unavailable person in a different body? Why do you always end up in jobs where you feel undervalued? Is it just bad luck? Or is there something deeper going on within our own minds? From a psychological standpoint, the answer is fascinating. Let's break down the hidden forces that create these repeating life lessons. At the heart of these recurring patterns is a concept from psychoanalysis known as repetition compulsion. It's the unconscious tendency to repeat traumatic or difficult circumstances from our past. It sounds counterintuitive, right? Why would we ever want to relive something painful? Well, the theory, first explored by Sigmund Freud, suggests it's not because we enjoy the pain. It's because a part of our mind is trying to gain mastery over the original situation. It's like watching a scary movie for the 5th time. You know the jump scare is coming, and by anticipating it, you feel a little more in control. Your unconscious mind is trying to do the same thing. This time it thinks, I'll fix it. This time I'll win. Think about this. Imagine someone who grew up with a highly critical and demanding parent. They felt they could never do anything right, and their sense of worth was constantly in question. Now, as an adult, they find themselves working for a boss who is impossible to please. They work late, they sacrifice their weekends, they burn themselves out trying to get that one nod of approval, but it never comes. Then, they quit that job, only to find their next boss has the exact same management style. Or they get into a romantic relationship with a partner who constantly criticizes them. The names and faces change, but the dynamic, the feeling of desperately seeking approval from someone who will never give it, remains identical. This isn't a coincidence. It's the repetition compulsion at play, unconsciously recreating a familiar, albeit painful, dynamic in a desperate attempt to finally resolve that childhood wound. You can't outrun the lessons you're meant to learn because you carry the classroom within you. The test isn't about changing the boss or the partner. It's about changing your response to the dynamic itself. It's about learning to validate yourself when the world won't. The renowned psychiatrist Carl Jung had a powerful concept he called the shadow. The shadow is the part of our unconscious mind that holds all the things we repress or deny about ourselves, our insecurities, our secret desires, our unacceptable traits. Jung famously said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." This is where life's tests come in. The world around us often becomes a mirror, reflecting our own hidden shadow back at us. The things we haven't dealt with internally don't just stay inside. They are projected onto our reality, attracting people and situations that force us to confront them. Here's a classic example. Consider a person who prides themselves on being a nice guy or a people pleaser. They avoid conflict at all costs. They say yes when they mean no. Deep in their shadow is a repressed capacity for assertiveness, for setting boundaries, maybe even for healthy anger. They deny this part of themselves because they've learned that being nice is how they stay safe and loved. So, what does life do? It sends them a series of tests. A neighbor who plays loud music at 3 a.m., a coworker who shamelessly takes credit for their work, a family member who constantly makes unreasonable demands. These situations are intensely frustrating, but they are also assignments. The universe is practically begging them to access their shadow, to find their voice, to say, "No, this is not okay." The recurring frustration is a signpost pointing to an undeveloped part of the personality. The test will keep appearing until they learn that their response doesn't have to be a roar. Sometimes, the most powerful answer is a quiet, firm no. Our minds are powerful storytellers, but they have a favorite genre: confirmation. We tend to look for evidence that proves our existing beliefs are true, a psychological principle called confirmation biases. When this is combined with what sociologists call a self-fulfilling prophecy, we become the authors of our own repeating struggles. A self-fulfilling prophecy is when an initially false belief or expectation leads to its own confirmation. The process is simple but insidious. 1. You hold a core belief about yourself or the world. 2. You act in a way that aligns with that belief. 3. The world responds to your actions. 4. The outcome confirms your original belief. Let's take a common scenario. A woman holds a deep-seated belief that all good men are taken, or that she is unlucky in love. When she goes on a date, this belief is running in the background. She might be unconsciously distant, overly critical, or looking for red flags everywhere. Her date senses this guardedness and pulls away. And she thinks, "See? I knew it. There are no good men out there for me." She doesn't realize that her own behavior, driven by her belief, helped create the very outcome she feared. Her expectation altered her behavior, which in turn made the expectation come true. This pattern will repeat with every new person she meets until the core belief is challenged. The test isn't to find the perfect person. The test is to question the prophecy she keeps writing for herself. It's to show up to the date with curiosity instead of suspicion, with openness instead of a shield. It's to give a new story a chance to be written. Finally, how we view these tests is, in itself, the biggest test of all. Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck's groundbreaking research on mindset frames this perfectly. She identifies two core mindsets: a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Someone with a fixed mindset believes their qualities, like intelligence, talent, or personality, are carved in stone. When they face a challenge, they see it as a verdict on their abilities. Failure is catastrophic because it means they are fundamentally flawed. So, when a recurring problem appears, their response is often frustration, avoidance, or despair. "Here we go again. I'm just not good at this. I'll never change." In contrast, someone with a growth mindset believes their abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. They see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities to learn and grow. When they encounter that same repeating problem, their perspective is different. They ask, "What is this situation teaching me? What skill do I need to develop here? How can I approach this differently?" Imagine two people who are passed over for a promotion. The person with the fixed mindset sees it as proof that they've hit their ceiling. They become resentful, disengage from their work, and their performance stagnates. The person with the growth mindset feels the disappointment, but then they see it as a data point. They ask for feedback. They identify areas for improvement, maybe public speaking or project management. They take a course, find a mentor, and actively work on their skills. The next time a promotion opportunity arises, they are a stronger candidate. The situation was the same, but the response determined the outcome. These recurring challenges aren't punishments from fate. They are assignments from your own potential. Life isn't asking you to be perfect. It's asking you to be a learner. So, what do we do when we recognize these patterns, these cosmic reruns in our own lives? It begins with the courage to stop calling it fate and start calling it a question. The psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." He also said that between the stimulus the test life gives you and your response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. The recurring problem is the stimulus. Your old automatic reaction is what keeps the loop going. The freedom is in that pause. The moment when you see the pattern emerging and you think, I know this one. This is the I'm not good enough test. Or this is the my voice doesn't matter test. In that moment of awareness, you create that sacred space. And in that space, you can choose a different response. You don't have to quit your job or end your relationship tomorrow. The new response might be as small as not apologizing when you've done nothing wrong. It might be saying, I need some time to think about that, instead of an automatic yes. It might be simply observing your critical inner voice without believing it. These recurring tests are not a sign that you are broken or doomed. They are a sign that you are on the verge of a breakthrough. They are an invitation from a deeper, wiser part of yourself to evolve, to heal, to become more whole. Life isn't happening to you. It is responding through you. The question has been asked, again and again. The only thing left is your answer. What's a recurring test in your life? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might be the answer someone else is looking for. And if this resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe for more insights into the psychology of a meaningful life. Thank you for watching.